Welcome to this week's episode of the Sportscasters. This week we'll be recording in front of a live studio audience.
Are y'all almost done yet? This is taking as long as the draft.
Just play the theme music. In the fantasy football championship this year, we had Aaron's...
Wait.
What?
You know the bet. What are you doing?
What am I doing? What bet?
Come on, pay up.
All right. This is what happens when you lose. Happy? Okay.
Much better.
Can we keep going?
Yes.
Okay. Aaron's Hurricanes beat Rob's Reign 160 to 115. Of course, the matchup that everybody was looking at was that between Drew Brees and Peyton Manning. Drew Brees had his normal fantastic day, Aaron. 43 points, 4 touchdowns, 381 yards. Peyton Manning had 29. He had 4 touchdowns as well, but only 266 passing yards. That definitely hurt him. Were you surprised by being able to win that matchup so handily?
I was actually. Drew Brees as always did good. Peyton Manning was on fire. He was rolling that game. But then all of a sudden, after the second half, they sat him on the bench. And of course, that did Rob
no good. Now, Rob did have Jacoby Jones score 16 and Jamal Charles' replacement. Of course, everybody for Kansas City sat that game. But his replacement, Rob picked him up. He scored 21 points. Made it a little close. Were you worried that he was going to actually perhaps beat you this week?
I was. Actually, it was a very close matchup, probably 3/4 of the way through. And eventually I did get some separation.
Yes, you did. And that's because Jordy Nelson scored 23 points. I guess Aaron Rodgers is his best friend. Noshan Marino scored 12. Jimmy Graham scored 13. It looks like you got your normal production from your team, kind of like what you've been getting all year long.
Right.
So in the end, it certainly proved true that Aaron was superior. Second championship in a row. How are you going to celebrate?
That's something y'all are just going to have to wait and see. Have a little something special for you.
I don't want to know. Yes, we will. So the trophy stays here, Aaron, with you. Back to back. Of course, you are now the second 2-time champion, joining Matthew. Do you feel like you have it in you to go 3-peat next year?
It's a possibility. We'll just see how it looks after the draft.
So in the end, once again, Aaron's Hurricanes beat Rob's Reign 160 to 115. Rob was a little bit upset. In fact, he's already talking about rules changes for next year. Gotta be at the party, Rob. Gotta be at the party. After this commercial break, we'll come back and wrap things up for this season's fantasy football playoffs and sign off.
Have you been injured in a heartbreaking fantasy football loss?
Has your star player been benched when you needed him the most?
Well, don't sit around. Call the law offices of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe.
Don't call Doofus and Whackman. They'll only get you a point. At Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe, we'll get you 1.5 points.
We'll fight for every point you deserve.
So call today. The number is 855-CRYBABY. Call us now.
Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe cannot guarantee you any points. The only thing we can guarantee is taking your money.
Welcome back. What an exciting year it was for Park Manor Fantasy Football. Some highlights throughout the year. I think we have to go back to the draft, Aaron. I think on that first day, my being able to get LaShawn McCoy and Jamal Charles in the first 2 rounds was quite a steal.
It was.
But, I mean, as you can see, didn't do me any good. How about you?
Well, I really thought it was impressive how Rob had voted by Yahoo the best draft, and he pretty much proved that so, being consistent all year round. keeping up with me in second place.
Yeah, he made it all the way to the championship bowl game. But Rob, you're still a loser. Speaking of losers, the G-men were quite stinkers this year. They made my list as well because with that draft that they had, 3 kickers, 3 quarterbacks, we thought for sure they were going to go Detroit Lions and go 0-13. They got 1 win. The 1 win? Marvin, you know who gave them the win. Marvin, all I can say is come next draft, you might want to walk into my house with a paper bag over your head. Aaron, what else you got?
Also, the Mad Dogs, they started out on a roll, but somehow Jimmy managed not to make it in the playoffs. He took a spiraling fall.
Yeah, Jimmy. Hopefully you learn from this year. Next year, you'll come prepared and ready to outdo Doug. Doug, disappointing, didn't make the playoffs. Jimmy, disappointing, didn't make the playoffs. Maybe they can turn it around next year. Well, that'll do it for this week's edition of the Sportscasters. We want to thank everyone for tuning in. We hope everyone had a fun year. It was certainly nice to be together with all of the brothers and have the teams, the trash talk, all in jest and fun, and yet in the end we all had a good time. Let's not forget that next weekend is the final year-end party that will hand out the trophy to the champ. And we'll talk about rules changes as well. Make sure that you're there because if you're not there, you can't talk about the rules changes. So you have to be there to participate in the discussion. Once again, it will be here at Aaron's apartment complex. I'll be calling around to make sure that you can make it and we can have a good time. And as always, friends, we want you to remember,
I'm going to Disney World! We're recording in Friday.
just play the theme music.
I think that was a surprise. I got nothing to say. Second place the whole way through.
You know. Okay, then you just go when you're ready.